following an embarrassing statement to Laura Tingle.
Laura Tingle reported in the Australian Financial Review.
Journalist Laura Tingle.
Of course, Laura Tingle. Of the Reserve. Mr. Howard. Sports were 4 out of 10 taxes we have.
Hello, Dana.
How would you describe Laura Tingle?
Smart, tough, dedicated, hardworking, relentless, won't take any crap from anybody.
Laura is both wonderful and terrifying.
Formidable, formidable and formidable.
I met Laura not long after she arrived, probably 40 years ago, at a Labor Party conference at West Point in Hobart. But it wasn't very long after that that she showed real star quality.
Please welcome Paul Keating.
Thank you very much.
Laura Tingle from The Australian, Mr. Keating. What concessions did you gain from the ACTU during the final weeks of negotiations of the wage tax deal?
Well, a number.
Very gloomy unemployment figures, and with that story is Laura Tingle from the Canberra Bureau. Laura, they look pretty bad news for the government on top of all else that's been coming at them.
Oh, it's not good news at all, Kerry.
She understands very complicated concepts, and she's able to express them and produce them in a very understandable and relatable way for people. And who would have thought that an eyebrow would convey so much during a political package?
You can't survive in the press gallery unless you're accurate and honest. If you're fast and loose, you don't tend to last long. I can't think of any other area where there's so many people climbing over the same space trying to beat each other.
It can be the most frustrating thing in the world, and it can also be the most rewarding thing in the world. It's it has two sides. There are days when there's just a hard blast of political treachery.
Now, you can't all talk at once. Given that I'm about to no longer be the Prime Minister, I'm going to ask Laura Tingle to ask me a question.
You talked about police yesterday and you talked about the insurgency today.
I always remember the lockups when they used to be in the main committee rooms, and Laura would be studiously working away, election campaigns when she used to actually get out on the bus. Her with the other senior journalists like Laurie and Nikki and Michelle Grattan, and it was kind of the Rat Pack.
It's interesting, this is a bit of a mix. This is 7 years.
Seen a few of these.
I think budget and election coverage and big events in politics coverage. I think people look for her take on things. I know I do. Budgets are incomprehensible. They're books and books and books of stuff, and a lot of the journos have trouble with it, let alone members of the public who don't really engage with politics all that much.
It's obviously hardest for the Treasurer, but next to the Treasurer, I'd say it's the senior journalists who have got the most, but has some analysis behind it. It's a pretty hard act, and it's pretty unrelenting.
The budget veterans? Can I rudely interrupt?
Hello, Treasurer.
Laura's contributed enormously to the public's understanding of politics and policy and the blend between the two, and without that sort of contribution, the quality of policy would certainly be diminished. But I think also the quality of politics would be diminished.
Tonight, our new chief political correspondent, Laura Tingle, joins 7:30. Laura, welcome aboard.
When she said she's going to the 7:30, I thought, wow, okay. But I could understand it. Now she's like she's a national icon almost.
7:30's chief political correspondent, Laura Tingle, is across the details. Laura Tingle, I can only imagine that Labor must be absolutely ropeable.
Lee, I think you'd have to say they're spewing.
Here's 7:30's political editor, Laura Tingle.
To give the government of the day a kick up the bum. What's happened on average to the Australian economy? Any pet shop galah can tell you that the absolutely overwhelming issue for voters is the cost of living.
Laura, thank you very much.
Thanks, Sarah.
During the Morrison years, when after the Brittany Higgins story broke, that was a pretty seminal moment, and I think her entire coverage during that period was both courageous and pertinent and inspiring.
Brittany Higgins' powerful testimony on national television last night moved the PM to go where politics has had trouble going for so long, an understanding of what it feels like to be on the wrong end of an imbalance of power.
I will.
I always comforted myself when I'd look left and right and there'd be various people who were still working there, and then Laurie Oakes was one of them and he left, and then I would always look to Laura and go, well, Laura's still here, so everything's all right. It was like my comforter, you know, that if Laura was here, things were fine. And now I'm going to have to readjust and take a good hard look at my life choices.
You only get one life, don't you? And you know, 40 years in this nut house is enough for anybody. And she's landed a terrific role. She's done more than enough here. She can leave with her head held high.
I really do hope that in her next endeavour she can find some more joyful things to cover, because politics and policy has not always been joyful in Australia, and I'm sure there are times when she must have been pulling her hair out.
She is one of the funniest people that you could ever meet. She is always interesting, never boring. Everything that Laura does, she does extremely well.